It was a golden summer afternoon, the kind of afternoon where the air feels warm and still, and the sky stretches on forever in soft, sleepy blue. Sam and Emma were in Emma's backyard, lying on a picnic blanket, watching the clouds drift lazily overhead. "That one looks like a dragon," Sam said, pointing to a particularly curly puff. Emma squinted. "No, it's a balloon, a giant floating balloon with stripes and little flags." They both laughed until something behind the trees caught Emma's eye. "Hey, have you ever looked inside that old shed over there?" At the far end of the garden stood a crooked wooden shed, half covered in vines and moss. It looked forgotten, like it hadn't been opened in years. Curious, they tiptoed over. The wooden door creaked as Emma pushed it open. Inside, dust sparkled in the sunlight that slanted through cracks in the roof. And there, taking up almost the whole space, was something incredible. "A hot air balloon?" Sam whispered. It was beautiful, though worn with time. The basket was woven from silvery reeds, and the balloon itself was folded like sleeping fabric, painted with faded stars and swirling clouds. A plaque on the basket read, "The Sky Painter's Balloon, Flight Ready." Emma gently touched a golden lever on the control panel. With a soft whir, the balloon shuddered, rising slightly from the floor as if it had been waiting. Suddenly, a breeze blew through the open shed, and bright sparkles danced around them, not dust this time, but glowing motes of light. The balloon began to glow faintly. Sam grinned. "I think this balloon still wants to fly." Emma looked at him with wide eyes. "Should we go see where it takes us?" The two friends climbed into the basket, hearts racing. As Emma flipped the lever all the way up, the balloon lifted off the ground, slow and smooth, rising gently through the broken roof, up into the sunlight, and into the open sky. And so their magical journey began. The balloon soared higher and higher, carried not just by air, but by something that felt like magic. As Sam and Emma looked down, the world below melted away, trees, rooftops, even the town shrinking into soft dots. Then, suddenly, everything around them shifted. The sky changed. It was no longer just blue. Now it shimmered in layers of color bands of lavender, gold, seafoam green, and cotton candy pink. The clouds weren't ordinary anymore either. They floated like slow whales or galloped like horses, glowing from within. Sam leaned over the side of the basket. "Are we still on Earth?" Emma shook her head, wide-eyed. "I think we're somewhere else entirely." Ahead, great floating islands of clouds hung in the air like giant pillows. Bridges of light connected them. Between them flowed rivers of mist that sparkled like glitter. Birds made of stardust swooped by, singing notes that left trails of color in their wake. Just then, a small puff of cloud zipped toward them. It was no bigger than a watermelon and had two blinking eyes and a tiny pair of floating boots. It spun once in greeting, then spoke in a cheerful, breezy voice. "Welcome, travelers. You've entered the floating skyscape realm of the Sky Painter." Sam and Emma stared. "I'm Nibbit," said the cloud creature. "Sky messenger, cloud bouncer, and part-time tour guide." "And you," he leaned closer, "must be the ones the balloon brought." "The balloon brought us?" Emma asked. Nibbit nodded. "Only those with curious hearts can awaken the Sky Painter's balloon." "And the Sky Painter? Well, he needs your help." Before they could respond, a gust of wind swirled around them, and Nibbit zoomed ahead. "Follow me," he called. "There's much to show you before the skies fade away completely." Sam and Emma exchanged an excited glance and held on tight as the balloon drifted into the glowing sky. The balloon followed Nibbit through the sky, weaving between glowing clouds and over rivers of light. As they passed a swirl of rainbow mist, the air suddenly calmed, and the skies widened into a vast clearing, surrounded by soft, floating clouds. At the very center sat a grand easel floating in midair. Around it were buckets filled with shimmering paint, and paintbrushes the size of oars gently hovering nearby. Beside the easel floated a tall, soft-shaped figure made entirely of cloud shifting, glowing, and graceful. His beard was made of vapor, and a crown of golden sunlight shimmered above his head. Nibbit did a quick twirl. Here he is, the one, the only Nimbus, the sky painter. The cloud being turned slowly toward them, his gentle eyes glowing sky blue. His voice sounded like a breeze brushing through leaves. "Ah, you've come." Sam and Emma stepped forward from the balloon basket. Emma spoke first. "Are you really the sky painter?" Nimbus gave a soft nod. "I was, until the colors stopped coming." He floated toward his giant easel, lifting one translucent hand. "Long ago, I painted every sky dawns of rose and honey, sunsets of fire and lavender. But now," he gestured to the buckets of paint, "all of them dull and gray. Without the palette crystal, I cannot paint at all." "The skies used to sing," he continued, "but ever since the wind trolls took the crystal, color has faded and the sky has begun to fall asleep." Sam looked up. Some clouds nearby had started to sink, growing dimmer. "Why did they take it?" Emma asked softly. "They didn't want to destroy the skies," Nimbus sighed. "They just wanted their own sky, their own story. But in their loneliness, they didn't see what their actions would cause." Nibbit bounced nervously. "If the skies fade completely, the dream world will fade too. We need your help to get the crystal back." Sam stepped forward, his fists clenched with determination. "Tell us where to go." Nimbus smiled, the edges of his form glowing brighter. "Then your quest begins in the misty maze of lost hues." Sam and Emma stood at the edge of a thick, glowing mist. Before them stretched a winding maze, but this wasn't any ordinary maze. The walls were made of cloud pillars that pulsed gently with pale, shifting light, and the ground beneath was soft and bouncy like marshmallow. Floating signs spun slowly in the air, but their letters rearranged every few seconds, making them nearly impossible to read. Nibbit hovered beside them nervously. "The misty maze of lost hues," he said, his voice quieter now. "This is where forgotten colors go, and where the trolls first hid the palette crystal." Sam peered ahead. "Looks like we have to go in." As soon as they stepped inside, the mist wrapped gently around them. The world went quiet, except for the soft sounds of dripping light and the whisper of distant laughter, echoes of color memories. "Stay close," Emma whispered, holding out her hand. Sam took it. They turned down twisting paths where the mist thickened and the air grew cooler. Strange things appeared, faded rainbows, hanging like torn flags, melting color wheels, and brushes stuck in the ground like forgotten swords. Each path they took seemed to loop back to where they started. Suddenly, a path lit up beneath their feet, a soft swirl of yellow and green. Emma paused. "This isn't random," she said. "The maze, it reacts to how we feel." She closed her eyes and thought of joy, the moment they found the balloon, the way it had lifted them into the sky. The path ahead shimmered bright orange. Sam joined in, thinking of laughter, warmth, friendship. The colors strengthened, glowing pink, then blue. Together, they ran toward the light, following trails of emotion and memory. At the center of the maze, they found a broken pedestal surrounded by dull shards of glass. A faded message floated above. "To restore what's lost, find what once was shared." Emma knelt, touching one of the shards, and a memory bloomed from it, a group of trolls laughing under a sky they had painted themselves. "They just wanted to create," she whispered. Sam nodded. "Then maybe we can help them see it again." As the colors guided them out of the misty maze, the mist lifted, revealing a strange and windswept land. Cloud mountains twisted upward like soft spirals, and invisible gusts swirled around them, carrying voices that sounded like echoes of forgotten laughter and old songs. The balloon hovered gently nearby, anchored to a patch of floating stone. Nibbit, who had caught up with them, floated close to Emma's shoulder. "We're here," he whispered. "This is the realm of the wind trolls." The wind thickened. Then, without warning, a deep voice echoed, "Why have you come?" From behind a swirling cloud, several wind trolls emerged. They were tall, fluffy creatures, their bodies shaped like thunderclouds with arms, legs, and stormy gray eyes. But their expressions weren't angry, just tired. "We're not here to fight," Sam said, stepping forward. "We're here to understand." One troll, larger than the rest, stepped forward. His name was Brulo, and he wore a broken chain of prism-colored beads around his shoulder. "Understand?" he rumbled. "Everyone blames us for stealing the sky's colors, but no one listened to why." Emma spoke gently. "Then, tell us." Brulo looked around at his tribe. "We wanted a sky of our own, one where our colors could finally shine, not be erased by the painter's brush every morning. So we took the palette crystal to paint it ourselves." He pointed to the sky above. It was patchy, half swirling with beautiful stormy colors, half gray and dim. But we didn't know it would break the sky for everyone. The trolls lowered their heads, ashamed. "We just wanted to be seen." Emma stepped forward, her voice soft. "Maybe we can help you create a sky together, not yours or his, but ours." The trolls looked up. Brulo's eyes flickered. "If you really mean that, follow us. The crystal is hidden deep in the wind hollow, but only those with clear hearts may pass." Sam took Emma's hand. "Let's go." Brulo raised his arm, and the winds obeyed. A path formed between swirling columns of air, leading into a hollow carved within a floating storm cloud. Lightning flickered gently across the entrance like a curtain of light. "This is Wind Hollow," Brulo said. "Only those who carry no anger, no fear, only understanding may enter." Sam and Emma exchanged a glance, then nodded. With a breath, they stepped into the swirling mist. Inside, the world turned hushed and echoey. The air was thick with emotion, each breeze whispered feelings. Joy, sorrow, longing, hope. It wasn't frightening, but deeply personal. The walls pulsed with light that flickered with their thoughts. Their own memories danced in the mist, scenes of laughter, moments of doubt, fears they hadn't spoken aloud. A gentle voice, neither male nor female, echoed through the hollow. "To claim the colors, show the color of your heart." Suddenly, a glowing path split into two. One glowed bright red, the other a pale, flickering gold. Sam hesitated. "Which one do we take?" Emma looked inward, closing her eyes. "Not with our eyes, with how we feel." She stepped toward the gold path, thinking of the trolls, of Nimbus, of the skies fading. As she walked, the path glowed brighter. Sam followed, letting go of worry, holding on to hope. As they walked, the wind slowed, the whispers softened. At the very center of the hollow stood a pedestal of cloudstone, and hovering above it, glowing, pulsing, alive, was the palette crystal. It shimmered with every color imaginable, swirling like liquid sky. Just as Sam reached out, the wind circled them in a tight spiral. A final voice rose. "Do you take this power for yourself, or to share it with all?" Emma smiled. "To share it," she said firmly. The wind stopped. The crystal gently floated down into Sam's hands, warm and weightless. Outside, the winds began to shift. A new breeze stirred lighter, freer, as if the sky itself had just taken a deep breath. As Sam and Emma stepped out of Wind Hollow, holding the glowing palette crystal, the sky seemed to pause. Clouds hovered motionless, winds stilled, even the colors held their breath. Brulo and the wind trolls stood waiting at the cliff's edge, eyes wide. You passed the trial," Brulo said, barely above a whisper. Emma held up the crystal, its swirling hues casting shimmering reflections on everyone's faces. "But this doesn't belong to just one of you," she said. "It belongs to everyone who dreams of painting the sky." Sam looked at Brulo. "You said you wanted a sky of your own. What if we build one together?" For a long moment no one spoke. Then Brulo's stormy eyes softened. "Together?" Emma nodded. "Yes, with Nimbus, with all of us." A soft breeze curled around them, and from above, the sky painter's balloon gently floated down. Nibbit peeked over the side. "I told you they'd do it," he squeaked joyfully. Soon the balloon carried Sam, Emma, Brulo, and a few wind trolls back toward the sky painter's studio. The journey was different now. The skies felt brighter, more alive. As they flew, trails of color followed behind, like paint flowing across a blank canvas. At the studio, Nimbus stood waiting, a brush in his hand, but his face was uncertain. Emma stepped forward and placed the palette crystal into his palm. "We brought you the colors," she said, "but we brought you something else too." Brullo stepped forward and bowed. "A chance to paint together." For the first time in what seemed like forever, Nimbus smiled a full, glowing, sunlight-filled smile. He handed a brush to Brullo, another to Sam, another to Emma. "Then let's begin." The sky above them shimmered like fresh paper, and together, sky painter, children, and trolls, they lifted their brushes and began to create a brand new sky, one no one had ever seen before. The canvas of the sky above stretched wide and waiting, pale, quiet, filled with soft light. All around the sky painter studio, cloud brushes floated, shimmering with anticipation. Buckets of color, once dull and gray, now bubbled and glowed with renewed magic. Sam dipped his brush into a swirl of deep blue that sparkled like starlight. Emma chose a soft lavender mist that shimmered when touched. Brullo hesitated, then selected a fierce yet beautiful stormy silver, the color of his tribe's dreams. Nimbus hovered nearby, watching them with pride, his form glowing brighter than ever. "There are no rules here," he said, "only feelings, only stories. Paint what's inside you." They began. Sam swept bold arcs across the sky, wide strokes of adventure, bravery, and wild winds. Emma painted gentle spirals and floating lights, each dot like a puzzle waiting to be solved. Brullo painted deep, rich tones that echoed across the horizon like ancient songs. As their brushes danced, the sky came alive. Clouds bloomed into shapes never seen before, a dragon made of light, a whale with star-spotted fins, floating musical notes that echoed color when touched. Tiny bursts of laughter, color spirits burst from the clouds, spinning and giggling as they flew. Wind trolls from the realm below began to gather, watching with wide, awestruck eyes. Even the silent clouds that had faded in the distance started to drift back, pulled by the hum of joy. "This," Brullo whispered, "this is what we always wanted." Emma smiled at him. "You didn't need to take the sky to be part of it. You just needed to share it." High above, the newly painted sky stretched farther and brighter with every stroke, as if the sky itself was growing, opening new places for new dreams. And as the last streak of rainbow light crossed the sky, the whole realm sighed with relief and wonder. The sky was no longer broken, it was reborn. The freshly painted sky pulsed with life. Colors danced like music. Shapes shimmered and drifted across the horizon, not just beautiful, but alive. Everywhere the new sky touched, change followed. Far below, in distant lands across the clouds, children looked up and gasped. In sleepy villages, painters rushed outside with their easels, inspired. In quiet forests, birds burst into songs they'd never sung before. The magic of the sky was waking up the world. Nimbus floated higher, arms wide, his cloud body glowing like dawn. "Can you hear it?" he whispered. Emma paused, listening. The sky was humming. Not a song exactly, but a feeling. Hope, joy, wonder. It vibrated in the chest like a heartbeat. The skies were singing again. Nibbit bounced in happy circles, trailing sparkles with each spin. "I haven't heard this song since I was just a fluff." Brullo looked toward his fellow trolls, many of whom had tears shining in their stormy eyes. "We were wrong to think we didn't belong," he said softly. "We just forgot to believe our voices mattered." Sam clapped him on the shoulder. Now they're part of the sky forever. A gust of gentle wind swirled around them, not chaotic like before, but warm and playful. It lifted the sky painter's balloon slightly, its ropes fluttering like ribbons. Nimbus turned to Sam and Emma. "The skies are safe now, but they'll always need dreamers, artists, storytellers." Emma smiled. "We'll keep dreaming and telling," Sam added with a grin. Nimbus held out his hand, and the sky responded. A final burst of color painted itself above their heads. A swirling mural of clouds showing two children in a balloon, flying across endless skies. Below it were words formed in stardust. "Paint what only your heart can see." The crowd of trolls, spirits, and color creatures all cheered. The skies echoed back in joy. The sky painter's world had changed not because the colors returned, but because everyone had helped create them. As the final rays of color drifted across the sky painter's balloon began to lower. Slowly, gently, like a leaf on the wind, it floated back down through the layers of clouds, leaving a soft trail of shimmering mist behind. Sam and Emma stood at the edge of the basket, watching the floating skyscape fade above them. The islands of cloud, the rivers of light, even the giant easel all grew faint, like a memory wrapped in sunlight. They landed back in Emma's garden with barely a sound. The balloon settled softly behind the shed, just as they'd found it. The sky above was once again clear blue, but not plain. It shimmered now, as if behind the sunlight was a hidden layer of magic only they could see. Emma looked around. The garden was quiet. Birds chirped. A breeze rustled the trees. "Did we really go there?" Sam asked. Emma held up a single bristle from one of Nimbus's brushes, now tucked in her pocket. It sparkled faintly. "We did." They sat back on the picnic blanket where the journey began. But something was different. Everything felt brighter, fuller, like the whole world was made of more than just what eyes could see. Nibbit appeared for one last spin, glowing and grinning. "Remember, the sky doesn't end up there," he said, pointing up. "It begins in here." He tapped his tiny hand to his chest, then vanished in a puff of glittering cloud. Emma smiled. "Do you think we'll go back someday?" Sam leaned back, watching the clouds. "Maybe. Or maybe the sky will come looking for us." They lay in silence for a while, watching the clouds twist into shapes. A dragon, a balloon, a storm, and two children painting the sky. And just as the sun dipped toward the horizon, the sky shimmered once more, just a flicker as if winking goodbye. But Sam and Emma knew. It wasn't goodbye. It was see you soon.